So I have to admit, this new light blue color is pretty nice looking. It's not too in your face, it's not too boring. It's just a nice, light, you can even say sort of calming shade of blue. The form factor of this Google Pixel 6 7a is really the same as the form factor of really all modern Pixels, which is tall, slender, and well built. We have the chamfered aluminum edges, and we also have some symmetrical antenna bands on top that I am really a fan of. I like the look of a lot. And in day-to-day use, it's a very nice to hold, nice to use, not that heavy, but not super light, attractive Android phone. The OLED display is quality though, just as it was on the Google Pixel 6a. It's quite sharp, it's quite vivid, and although it doesn't get super bright as the more pricier phones do outside, it still does get decently bright. At first I thought this display was sort of a downgrade from last year's Google Pixel 6a, but after using both of the phones side by side, it's really hard to notice a difference between these two displays, but the 7a is just a tad bit cleaner, just a tad bit better than this Pixel 6a here. Funny thing is, I also initially thought that the chin was bigger on the 7a here than it was on the Pixel 6a last year, which is not actually the case. It's just that the Pixel 6a had matte black edges, so the chin kind of blended in with those black edges. But the 7a here, it's a sheen chamfered aluminum on the edges, which makes the chin, although the same size as the 6a, just a little bit more noticeable. It just creates a little bit more contrast, at least with this blue color here. All right, so let's talk about some of the upgrades that we got with the Pixel 7a. First of all, there is wireless charging now, which is good and convenient. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And now we do have a smooth 90 Hertz refresh rate of the display. I'm a fan of this. It's not an incredible difference in scrolling use compared to a regular 60 Hertz display, but it's just a nice quality of life feature that a phone can have that this 7a now has. It's off by default, which is probably not to hurt the battery too much, but I don't get why, like, if you have this feature, it should just be a default setting of the phone. Most people who don't watch nerdy YouTube videos such as these would never even know that their phones have this feature in the first place. Meaning they would never even have the chance to experience a smooth display on their phone that they paid hundreds for, which is, I think, just a little bit sad. No, there's Face Unlock now, which I've really come to like. It's actually pretty fast and pretty helpful and handy. And when you do have to use the fingerprint reader, that too has actually gotten a noticeable speed bump over last year's Pixel 6a. The fingerprint reader on this is really instant. Most of the time you don't even have to use it because the Face Unlock is pretty good too. The biometrics combined with the haptics of these Pixels, which I think is really underrated by the way, makes this phone just so satisfying to use. The word snappy, such a good way to describe using this phone and performance on this phone. Extremely smooth now, thanks to the upgraded refresh rate display. And just like I said, snappy. In my past videos, I always just tell you guys how much I like using Pixel phones and how much I am a fan of the user experience of the Pixel. And this phone does not break that opinion for me. Apps load in an instant, apps open up in an instant. There's great photo with minimal effort, and really, like I've been saying, an all-time high level of smoothness, you can say, with these phones. It's still too early to make full-on assumptions and claims about battery life and performance and things of that nature, but first impressions, I just want to say I'm thoroughly impressed with this phone here. Trying to grab focus on that orange flower. One thing I've noticed is just the zoom is a lot better. Just look at that dynamic range. Wow. This dynamic range makes me want to smile. But yeah, there it is, the brand new Google Pixel 7a. As you saw, pretty good photos as well. I'm still gonna take a bunch more photos just to see what it's capable of. And like I said before, it's too early to give recommendations and really too early to say anything because I just got this phone. But I am gonna be comparing this phone with some others. So yeah, just look out for those and I'll see you in the next one.